Now calling Patrick Harvie to be followed by Christine Graham. Up to 6 minutes, please.
Thank you. Can I begin by offering my support for the Scottish Government's motion and for the Labour amendment as well today, and my recognition for the tone of the Scottish Government's response to this entire issue. I think it's one that we should all be willing to support. It contrasts strongly with the many, many years of racist and xenophobic rhetoric which we've seen in much of the media in this country and in other European countries in relation to immigration as well as asylum. Let's remember that just at the last UK election, when the crisis of people drowning crossing the Mediterranean had been already going on for years, even at that time, those people were being described in the national press in this country as cockroaches. Something shameful. The rhetoric that we've seen from newspapers such as the Daily Mail, just weeks before the photographs of that little body on the beach changed the emotional response of the country. Just weeks before, the Daily Mail had been condemning the BBC for broadcasting an episode of Songs of Praise from the refugee camp at Calais. Sorry, as the Daily Mail described it, the squalid migrant ghetto at Calais. That kind of racist and xenophobic rhetoric is something which has been driven deep into this country's and many other countries' cultural response to the issue. Much of it rests on the assumption or the argument that to have refugees come and to have to accommodate refugees is to bear a burden, and that this is a burden which we should bear grudgingly. Any one of us who can't close our eyes at the moment and imagine swapping places today with somebody making that hazardous journey, or with somebody who found themselves this morning on the wrong side of a razor wire fence, any one of us who isn't capable of closing our eyes and thinking of swapping places with somebody in that situation doesn't recognise what it means to bear a burden. It's those people who have to ask for help, for refuge. It's those people who have to flee, whether from war, from persecution, or from economic poverty. They're the ones who bear a burden. Those who are in a position to be able to offer that help, we are the privileged ones. We are not the ones who bear a burden. And so when I see a Prime Minister going to a country like Lebanon, which, as we've heard, already hosts well over 1 million refugees, something like a quarter of its population, and then to hear from the same political quarter the language which suggests that we must only accept a sustainable level, I find it hard to express my deep discomfort and objection to that kind of language. The idea that a country of the wealth and the scale of the United Kingdom can see a level no more than 20,000 over 5 years as being sustainable, when a Prime Minister has direct experience in the last few days of a country like Lebanon and the situation that it's in, I find indefensible. Of course there has to be support in the region. Of course there has to be support for the other countries dealing with the situation on that scale. I understand as well the intention of those who talked about creating safe havens in the region. But exactly how safe will they be? And what is the logistic, the resource, and potentially even the military implication of creating safety in that situation? I find that insurmountable. And none of it, even if it was achieved, none of it discharges from us the obligation to meet the immediate need which faces us. I want to talk as well about this difference between refugee and economic migration. Yes, they are legally distinct, but they are all human beings, and whichever legal category a person is described as, their innate dignity deserves the same level of respect. And although the issues of the humanitarian crisis and the level of refugees and others coming to Europe at the moment is on a bigger scale than Europe has known for some considerable time, One thing is new, and the UN agencies acknowledge this. One thing is new, which is what they describe as mixed flows. Large numbers of people on the move at the same time, with a range of different experiences, a range of different reasons why they may be travelling, and from a range of different places. I expect that's going to continue to be the case. I expect that's going to be an increasing feature of these challenges across the world as time moves on. And I think a new settlement is going to be necessary.
As you draw to a close.
Certainly one that involves EU-wide coordination. Certainly one that involves the provision of safe routes of passage. But also one that recognises the mix of causes of displacement: war, persecution, exploitation, poverty and environmental destruction, and our contribution to all of those causes. The contribution that wealthy, powerful, dare I even say it, oil-producing countries have made to, and will continue to make, to all of those causes, as well as the arms trade, which has been mentioned by Christina McKelvey, which this country still manages to fuel, and companies such as Celex in Edinburgh, mentioned in a different context in the Chamber last week, with a track record of dealing with the Assad regime. We must take responsibility for all of those.
Many thanks. Now, Colin Christie.